Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about Replaced, Sadat Studio's debut game, 8 years in the making. Now, I'd like to say that I kept up with this game through its entire development, but to be honest, I didn't even know this game existed until the day before launch. I had no idea this was originally announced back at E3 in 2021, and they had a launch date for the following year. But it would seem that global conflict had other plans.
Air raid sirens rang out on Friday, with Russia closing in on the Ukrainian capital of Kiev.
Russia invading Ukraine caused the entire team to have to relocate. So basically, your entire life has been upended, and somehow you still have to figure out how to keep a game in development. As the years go on, we got a few more delays. Some of these were for polish, and others were based on community feedback. And after years of hard work, Sadat finally managed to get this thing over the finish line. So what is Replaced? The game takes place in an alternate 1980s America, the government and its people broken by nuclear fallout, with corporations stepping in to fill the gap. If you played Cyberpunk 2077, you'll feel right at home here. You play as Reach, the research engine for altering and composing humans, an AI built by the man whose body you end up inhabiting, Warren Marsh. The game opens up with Warren and Reach hard at work. Warren linked to Reach through what looks like a cerebral-type machine, and Warren's not having a good day. You also get the sense pretty quickly that linking to Reach while having the worst day of your life is a recipe for disaster. During this time, Reach is trying to remind Warren to remain calm, but his vitals are surging, the beeps are getting louder. Basically, everything is wrong. And unfortunately, by this time, the damage is already done. The machine explodes, the lab is destroyed, and Reach, who previously only experienced the world through ones and zeros, now inhabits the body of his creator. And with a backdrop like Phoenix City, not the best place to be taking your first steps as a human being. Phoenix City is the type of world you love to look at but would hate to exist in. Organs are the currency here, and Reach was not a bystander in this ecosystem, he was the infrastructure. Reach was built as a compatibility algorithm, matching donors to recipients. Sounds good on the surface, but we all know how corporations love to mess up a good thing. Millions must be made, and if others suffer for it, well, that's a side effect of good business. And if millions aren't made fast enough, well, suffering can always be manufactured. Enter the Phoenix Corporation, a masterful engineer of despair, churning out policies that keeps its society impoverished, creating a system where the only thing left for a human to give is itself. This world is gorgeous. It's dark, gritty. If you look hard enough, you start to pick up on his influences. I dug up some dev interviews, and the creative director, Yura Zandovich, cited Matt Reeves' The Batman, Alien, and Blade Runner for the cinematography and tone of the game. After hearing that, it's kind of hard not to notice.
When everybody is talking about the inspirations behind any cyberpunk, it's Blade Runner. It's the point in cinematic history when cyberpunk on screen was really taking shape. Replaced was actually inspired by a song from the soundtrack of Blade Runner 2049, and I was stunned to death by it.
The atmosphere is suffocating in the best way. Sadcat's use of lighting and shadow does most of the heavy lifting. Dark alleys, forgotten belongings, high rises looming behind cheap neon. You step out into the street and the white noise of the city hits you all at once. The environment pulls you in. It's not a flat, plain side-scroller. There are elements that exist in the foreground and the background, giving depth to a world that would otherwise feel like wallpaper. Along your adventure, you'll meet a whole cast of factions and characters, each with their own motivations, some helping you and some getting in the way. And we like the ones that get in the way because any reason to engage with this type of combat is a plus. I do want to mention there are no voice lines in the game, and personally I'm not missing it. Even if it were a budget compromise, the game doesn't suffer for it. I would argue that it helps more than hinders, giving the game a more novelized feel. Between the character animations, the environmental detail, and camera work, done manually by the way, I never felt any emotional weight was lost in the narrative. There is a hub that you consistently return to throughout the game, with a few side characters that Reach can help in exchange for equipment upgrades. Thankfully, there is no skill tree. This is more of a personal thing, but I have this bad habit of chasing skill points because I'm a slut for the power creep. Then I get burnt out before I ever finish, and the cycle repeats itself, so thankfully I didn't have that problem here. It was nice just to sit back and enjoy the ride for once. Now, let's talk about the main reason I pressed purchase from the get-go. Combat. If you played any of the Arkham games, all of this will feel familiar to you. Triangle to parry, X to dodge, with circle acting as your stun or armor breaker. Each enemy has their own unique movesets that require a combination of all three to defeat them, plus you get some auxiliary abilities that help you give you an edge over your combatants. Through the use of clever lighting and hand-placed camera movements, ZachCat has managed to integrate an Arkham-style free-flow system into a 2D space. Free-flow combat is a staple mechanic in the Arkham series and arguably one of the best combat systems that exist today, with notable games like Shadow of Mordor and Spider-Man implementing their own twist on it. Taking a combat system that seemingly only worked in a 3D space and translating it to 2D is genuinely incredible, and it's fantastic to look at, especially when you manage to land one of those finishers just right. But don't think you're just going to come in here and start button mashing. Like Arkham, each enemy is their own puzzle, with different ways of defeating them. Some enemies can be attacked outright, some require an armor break, and some will need to make the first move before you can counter and defeat them. And as you know, once all of these start to mix together, it makes for combat that is challenging, engaging, and rewarding. But ultimately, it's just cool as shit to watch, especially if you can enter that flow state. Platforming, environmental puzzles, and hacking are another part of the game you'll be doing a lot of, and for the most part it's pretty good. Hacking is straightforward. Sometimes you'll come in contact with turrets that need to be disabled, smoke fissures that act as distractions, and locked doors that need bypassing in order to progress. It never gets any deeper than that, and doesn't need to. There are some platforming problems though. Because the environment exists in the foreground and background, there were parts of it where I couldn't tell what I was jumping to, or if I could jump to it, because I didn't know the platform in front of me existed on the same plane as the character. Sometimes I just end up misjudging the jump and having to start the climb all over again. And this is a pretty common complaint I've seen in reviews, along with sluggish controls. The inputs do have a slight delay to them, especially when trying to play on my Steam Deck, and I've been alternating between the deck and PC, and the experience is the same. And after enough hours, you really start to take notice. It's not so fun when you're down to the last enemy, you try to dodge, and reach just stands there half a second too long. Now, you just have to start the encounter all over again. But all in all, in spite of all these ailments, I don't believe they'll hinder your overall experience. Replaced is a 9 out of 10 for me. This is one of the best games I've played this year, and if it doesn't end up as a Game of the Year contender, I'll be honestly surprised. It's a miracle this game managed to launch at all, considering how many games with similar dev times either flop at launch or never see the light of day. It's a testament to the resilience and dedication of these devs to see the project through to the end. Replaced is a masterful, pixelated novella of what it means to be human, and all the destructive fun that comes along with it. I appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a video, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye guys.